Hello everyone, ladies and gentlemen, my name is Random Gamer Riven as always, and I've got a bit of a different video today as I look at a playthrough of the recent Warframe's 8claw event. Now, although I don't cover Warframe hugely on the channel, I am actually quite a big player of it. In fact, I've racked up a very large playtime, owning most of the weapons and gear found in the game these days. And with the recent clan event, I thought it might be fun to upload a video of me playing through the Steel Path mode of Operation 8claw. Steel Path, for those of you who don't know, is basically the hard version of the game. And Operation 8claw was a special version of the Isle Wheel mission, which is now available fully in the Duviri mode. While I'm not a big fan of Duviri, in fact I think it's probably one of the worst modes in Warframe, this new update does allow you to obtain Pathos clamps required to build a lot of the incarnation weapons, which are basically huge upgrades to most of the existing weapons, without having to go through the very long slog of going through the standard Duviri playthrough and getting very few Pathos clamps at the end. Now, the one bugbear with Duviri is that the game is random in that you can't decide what your loadout's going to be. You are given a choice of up to 5 Warframes and 8 weapons. However, I should point out you don't start with that. I have unlocked all the Duviri intrinsics, which allow you to get additional things in your cave. So initially when you start, you have a very bare bones operator when you do Duviri, but over time you unlock intrinsics, and these are power-ups that give you quick warp, additional damage on your attacks, and allow you to take more loadouts from the cave at the start. Now, this run I was quite lucky with as I got Atlus Prime. Although Atlus Prime is perhaps not the strongest frame, he is, for want of a better word, a tank and can fairly dish out some pretty meaningful damage with his fists. While I would say Titania is probably one of the very best frames for this mode, she sadly wasn't available in my picks for this run, but I was quite pleased with Atlus. Now, the weapons I got were a bit of a mixed bag. They weren't my primaries, but a couple of them did have catalysts in them, which was quite lucky, and to be honest, all 3 are quite decent. Pegas is quite a good gun and its shield feature is quite handy. Lato Vandal's a fairly decent pistol, but a real pain to farm in game. And the Dragon Nikan is actually a pretty good sword, although I didn't have catalyst on it, so it wasn't doing huge damage, but it was still doing pretty solid damage considering it was a pretty unleveled weapon for me. I could have had worse picks and I could have had much better, but I knew when I was going to do this run my operator would be doing most of the heavy lifting, with me running an amp with all the best parts from Fortuna. I should also note I had all the buff intrinsics as well, so I've got all the damage buffs for the amp as well, which greatly help the amp's damage in the later difficulties. Now, I'm not going to speak too much more. I think there's enough people who do chatty videos on Warframe, but I thought I'd do this run for a laugh and just see how it went and actually play through it without dying, which I was quite pleased about. Steel Path largely just adds lots of damage onto all the enemies. It's not actually a very good mode. I would kind of like it to have the unique enemies, but Digital Extremes I think made it up it's a pretty lazy mode, so it was obviously a quick lazy mode they did. I mean, I'm surprised it didn't take more than about 30 seconds, quite literally, because all it is doubling the damage for all the enemies, but it's okay. But it certainly makes things a bit more hard than the normal path, because at this point my Warframes are so heavily modded I can just walk through the normal version of the game with complete ease. Overall, I think this event's quite interesting. I didn't mind the 2 additional boss fights, although I was a bit annoyed by the 2 Undercroft missions. This run I actually got 2 of the better Undercroft missions. Crucible can be a bit hit and miss if you're not in a good squad. On your own it's alright because you don't need to throw that many potions into the Crucible, but in a team, if you're only the only person doing the lifting, that can make it a very slow mission. Overall, quite pleased with the run, and if you ever want more Warframe content, do let me know, but I'm not going to do that per se on the channel unless there was lots of demand, and to be honest, the thought of me doing Warframe constantly as one channel would just drive me insane, hence why I like to do lots of retro games. But I will be doing more playthroughs, and I do actually want to talk about the campaign on delisted and games getting shut down very soon. There is one called Stop Killing Games that I will probably talk about in the next few weeks. I've also now got my long overdue Marvel review to do as well. Anyway, enjoy the video if you're a Warframe fan, and if not, you'll get a lot of fun out of this. I do basically play through and then I do a run around the new Duviri scene afterwards, you'll see at the end, so I just run around. I showed most of the pickups but not all of them. I couldn't really do a video, but there's already quite a few guides to where all the hidden pickups are. There are a couple of lore pickups, and there's 3 Somna chords, I believe, and there's 15 fragments. If you get all 15 fragments, you do get some bonus items for your orbiter. And as always, guys, if you like our content, please do hit that like button, please do hit that subscribe button, and please consider, if you want constant notifications, hit that bell button. Thank you for watching and enjoy the video.
Don't tell me you're siding with the brat. It's about time to grow up, don't you think?
They're nothing but horrid old stone. I'm not afraid of them. Smash them to bits.
Butchering freely like your forebears did, kiddo. You ran all the way back to my poisoned garden. Now you're chasing me here? What is it you need?
Thank the void! The Undercroft portals remain open. Use one!
This isn't your Undercroft anymore, kiddo. These creatures are no scourger, but they'll crush you still. Sure, kiddo. Fight back. We can do this. Spiral after spiral after spiral. Valiant, honorable, and an utter waste of energy. Tear away a finger, hack off a hand, an arm, a face. Keep on taking and see what grins back at you.
Approach the peregrine. Do not fear the wide eyes or the gaping beak. They will help you see her eyes.
I was dying all along. Did you know that? Dying from the poison I sucked down to kill the tech rot in my lungs. Until it held out my own severed hand to me and offered me life.
The spider's helping her. Is keeping this wolf Duviri tethered to my kingdom. Cut it down.
this kingdom for me, and I will feed you as your old master never did. To kill a spider, kiddo. Especially when I can just bring her back. If you came here to use Albrecht's crucibles, the only thing you'll create is a corpse. Yours. Playtime. Get out.
To Duviri.
This place is mine! It only exists because of me! That means I get to keep it!
the realm of untold stories she goes.